Hey kids, it's time to get some SML podcast all up in that.
What's up, everyone? This is the SML Podcast. I am your host, Joe. It is Wednesday, means we've got a reviews episode lined up for you. A lot of people are going to be dropping by. We're starting off the way we usually do. Pernell Vaughan, how are you doing?
Little freak outside as we get, rain. As we were talking about earlier, the rain won't stop coming. And every time it rains, I do a walk around my house and I look for weird things, small things that could be normal, but might not be normal, but I don't know. So it makes panic. It results in mass panic every time. What's that crack there? Oh, crap, I need to call somebody. And my dad comes by for a beer, and he's like, pronounce the house settling. That's not the house settling. That's a crack. Cracks aren't normal. They're normal, Pernell. And it just goes and it goes. I don't know how people with those, ginormous homes do it. There's got to be cracks all over those damn things.
Well, people with ginormous homes are usually rich, so they could afford to have other people take care of that for them.
That's a good point. They're probably, whatever. Jeeves, you'll take a small pay cut this. Wait, I don't even have to worry about that. Don't worry about it. You're good, buddy. Take a vacation, though, because this, I don't even know how to explain it, because I don't know what it's like to be rich. I can't even make up a joke about what a rich person would do. Give me money. Oh, anyway.
I wish I were rich. I could afford so many games if I were rich.
Honestly, I'm one of those weirdies. I used to have the dreams what would I do if I were rich or if I was just swimming in money? And I still think that I would do what I used to say, which is I'd become extremely charitable. I'd invest a bit to keep the money train rolling because I want to just burn it out and be gone. And then I want to live like I have no money. I don't want anybody to know. I want to be a shadow charity, a shadow charity person. God, words are escaping me today. But I want to be a shadow donor. There we go. And I was like, wow, this mysterious guy just keeps handing over money. He's restored the condition of 5 orphanages in the area this year alone. He did. Who is this mysterious Donor X?
Donor X.
It'd be amazing. You hear people talking man, who is this guy? I'm like, I don't know. He must be something, though. Man, I'm just throwing money away. And then get my pinto and drive down the street. Oh, there goes the muffler rattling again. I'm about to get that to the shop.
Fucking pinto.
There it goes, making those noises again. It's either this or the gremlin. What am I going to do? I got to drive one or the other.
Lord, rolling in your pinto.
That's right. No one will ever know the truth. Pernell's out there saving lives with his not ill-gotten gains.
Good Lord, Pernell. What are we going to do with you?
Give me money!
For real, if you struck the lottery, if you just became rich out of nowhere, what one video game item that you've always wanted are you going to track down and own?
Goofy enough? It's hard to say because I feel like I have the majority of stuff I want, but as far as just a random rare game goes, I'd probably buy a Rule of Rose without sweating over it. Because I've always wanted to play it, so I don't think it's even all that good. It's just I was curious about it when it got announced, but skipped it because that was one of those rare moments where I was like, I'll wait till it goes and gets a price drop. And that didn't happen. It got a price up.
Yeah, now it's like $150, $200. I'm talking something big though. Not something that you could feasibly afford right now. Something that you would have to track down and actually shell out a decent amount of money for.
Man, I'm bad at this because, it is still something I could technically probably get now if I just worked at it, but I probably still wouldn't mind getting a really solid a current state poppin' music cabinet or something.
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah, that or get a solid pump machine in the basement or a pump machine a full scale present day one because I constantly talk to people about my glory days when I used to keep the weight off by playing pump at the arcade that was down the road from my house. Easy access, so I could do it daily. And now it's what do you want to do to play pump? Go to Pennsylvania. How long of a drive is that? Long enough that you don't do it every day. So all of a sudden that option does not exist. So it's like, oh man. But the glory days, I used to go to the beach, play Pump It Up, or go to the arcade, play Pump It Up. They would buy me drinks. I got free parking at the beach. People would buy me food. The arcade owner would buy me food. She was like, you bring customers. Here, play more. Here's some free games. I'm like, thank you.
Hey, that works.
It was a glorious time, and the weight stayed off. But the fun, baby, she never stopped. Well, until it stopped. But at the time, it never stopped. It was a fantastic era for fun and frolic.
That is awesome. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's the kind of big thing that, like, if it were me, the one thing I have always wanted to own that I have just, it's always been out of my reach is a Panasonic Q. Do you remember those?
It rings a bell. Was to make sure I got this right, because I mean, I might be thinking about a different thing. Was the Panasonic Q that big box that had like the, like, sort of, I want to call them like cartridges that you could put in, and it was like each one represented a different product, like a Sega CD.
No.
Or, okay, I'm thinking about something else, and my friend had that. What are you talking about?
No, the Panasonic Q was a GameCube released only in Japan.
Oh, wait, with the
played
DVD
DVDs, yeah, and it had the mirrored front.
I forgot what the name of it was, but I do remember the product.
Man, that's always been on my to own before I die list, and I'm sure it's way out of my price range now. I should have jumped on it when they were still readily available, back when eBay still let you sell modded consoles on there.
I can't imagine it going for more than like $1,000. Yeah, I know $1,000 is a lot of money, but it fits into the realm of reasonable, like a potentially buyable down someday. Like, it's like $1,000, right? At the most.
I have no clue what they're going for now.
I have to look that up later, because, yeah, I'm sitting there thinking about that. I'm like, GameCube, I like the GameCube, but I don't think it was I don't remember it being a very popular system. So even being the Q variant being what it is, I can't imagine it going for but so much. Like,
yeah, they're going for about $700 right now.
Okay. Yeah, see, you can make that dream come true. Put aside like, $20 a month forever, and then go out and buy it.
Oh, there's one from Canada that has a region switch on it for $460. Time to talk to the wife and see if we've got some money.
Like, why do you want that? Well, fun fact, Pernell and I were talking today about things we want that are on our gaming bucket list. And what do you know? Come on, baby, help fulfill my fantasy. Just buy the system. We can do this thing.
I'm serious. If I could ever own just one really cool item in my life, I've always wanted to own the Q. So that would be on my bucket list.
I'm trying to think there was like a weird game system variant that I wanted. Like, I used to joke about the Net Euros, but I don't think I'd be able to do anything special with it. If I got it, it would just be a trophy on the shelf. And
yeah, at least this I could still, fire up Animal Crossing and play.
Yeah, and then you can watch the Animal Crossing movie on DVD. It'd be perfect. Animal Crossing, the movie starring Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Anyway, we should probably start talking about games on this show, huh?
And Danny DeVito as Tom Nook.
Oh, God.
It'd be perfect. But who would be Mr. Rossetti? Trying to think of someone that's, Joe
Gilbert
Pesci
Gottfried.
Dead? Yeah, bam! That would be a good one. That would be.
I told you not to turn your system off without saving.
Now, back to USA, up all night. Oh my God, Gilbert Gottfried. There's a name.
Man. We'll do the entire show in Gilbert Gottfried voice.
My voice wouldn't make it.
First game to talk about tonight.
And if only one or the other of us could do like Bobcat Goldthwait, that would be like ways to lose listeners very fast.
Oh my Lord. I've been peeking the mic when I do that, so I gotta stop doing Gilbert Gottfried.
Can you just imagine that? A show hosted by Bobcat Goldthwait and Gilbert Gottfried, two of like the most annoying voices.
That would be incredible.
I could think of. I would watch it, but God, my ears would hate me for it.
And their first guest would be Fran Drescher.
Just hammer it on home. Many people were rushed to the emergency room this evening as some spontaneously combusted.
Oh, Jesus.
Doctors are alarmed and confused. They try to ask their patients what's going on, but none of them can hear what they're saying.
I don't know what their problem is with our voices.
It's gold,
Hey,
baby.
Jafar.
Jafar. Also, he did the voice for freaking Yago the parrot. Oh my god! And then now this is going to be a problem because now this episode is going to be done. Like, okay, time to go watch the Aladdin cartoon with such awesome villain names as Abysmal. God, jeez, that was a terrible name. A pun that was bad to begin with, but also a word that kids wouldn't know.
Yeah,
it's like Abysmal. That's stupid. Well, actually, son, that's a very interesting pun based around that name. No, there isn't. That's not a real word. It's just dumb. Yeah, I know. Watch the damn shit. Think you know so much more than your damn dad. I'll tell you something. When I was a kid, Aladdin meant something. Now now the genie is Will Smith.
Oh man, we are getting so off topic.
Into the weeds, into the Cave of Wonders, even.
I don't know what to think about that movie. I really don't.
I actually saw a trailer, like an actual trailer, for the first time today, and I was flabbergasted. Like, it's like on one hand, it can hit like the Will Smith as the genie could work, but at the same time, my brain doesn't want it to work. So it's just kind of like it's just bringing up red flags, if that makes sense. Like, if I didn't know of any previous iterations of the genie, I'd probably see this and go, Will Smith got that genie goatee. How nice. Okay, and he's blue. He tells wacky jokes. Yeah, I get it. But instead, I'm like, he's not the genie. I know who the genie is. It ain't you. You ain't the genie, buddy. They could have made like Aladdin Part 2 where a second genie shows up. Name is like, I don't know, Genie backwards or something. Enig. Hi, I'm Enig. Pleasure to meet you. Genie's on vacation, but I'm here to help. 4 wishes. We had a strike.
Oh, my Lord.
4 wishes. You can't wish 4 wishes now.
I gotta rein this show in. We got stuff to talk about. We gotta rein this in. We gotta focus. A lot of games to talk about tonight. Are you ready for these?
I wish we could review games.
All right. Well, we are.
All right.
Wish granted.
3 wishes left.
All right. First game to talk about tonight is called Cytus Alpha, developed by Rayark, published by Flyhigh Works, released April 25th on the Switch for $49.99. Cytus Alpha is the definitive edition of Rayark's global hit, delivering over 200 songs and a memorable rhythmic music experience. Pernell, tell us about this one.
Cytus Alpha. Well, first of all, Cytus was originally like a mobile game where I remember playing it and thinking this would be perfect on some sort of game console, because long-time listeners know that me and handhelds me and mobile aren't so great of friends.
Oh yeah.
So I was very pleased to learn that this game was coming to an actual console with a touchscreen, especially considering the fact that the closest that I had come to like this style of touchscreen gameplay for rhythm was DJ Max Technica Tune back on the Vita, like in like 2011 or 12. Which, fun fact, these guys did that too. But anyway, with this game having come out, I was able to give it a shot, and I came away very pleased. Cytus Alpha works in a sense of being a music game where it's a horizontal screen and there's a white timing line that's going up and down to the timing of the song. And as the song plays, various dots will pop up on the screen, or circles. And when the line crosses the circle, you're supposed to touch it in tune with the music and pretty much play through the song in that manner. Sometimes you have to hold it down with your finger, like put your finger down and hold it until like the line for the whole note gets, goes already out, plays out in its fullness. Sometimes you have to drag the note across the screen, and just various combinations of those things. And it may seem simple, and it is in execution, but to actually do well at it, it can be either very easy or very hard. This game has some truly challenging songs in it if you want to go into that forest. But if you're also just kind of wanting to be casual about it, that option is available to you too. Gameplay progression the game is broken up into chapters, because in addition to having the main gameplay, there's also a story that the game kind of tries to play involving helping a cyborg girl, i.e. the girl on the cover of the physical copy, and I guess also the Switch plate, to basically try to help her out. And as the game plays and you earn more high scores in various songs, you'll unlock data, they call it, which consist of panels that would tell the story for this character, which is kind of interesting when you think about it, because I've been playing music games since way back in the day. We're talking like DDR in the 90s and mess like that. And there was
You're
a period
old school.
like, oh yeah, man, I've been on this grind from the beginning. But in all those games that Konami used to put out, they would always have these characters that were very colorful and active and doing stuff, but they were just characters in the game. They didn't have any backstory, no detail. And as dorky as this is going to sound, as a player of those games, I would get attached to the characters and be like, I wonder what the deal is with that guy. He always is in the corner juggling like colorful orbs. Is he a performer or some sort? I don't know. And then you're like, I want some information. And there isn't any, because they just gave them, they're just colorful characters to be in the game. So it's kind of cool that this game is like, hey, we create a character. There's an actual story related to the character, and you can learn more about them while you play. Now, of course, if that's not your cup of tea, you can just ignore the story stuff too. It's not going to hurt the gameplay at all. It's just either it's going to add to it or it's going to be negligible. So, in addition to that, the way it works is that every section is, like I said, broken up into chapters, and each chapter has a set number of songs stored within it. In order to unlock the next chapter and next set of songs, you have to get there's two ways actually. One is you get a certain total score across all the songs in that chapter. So let's say a chapter has 10 songs. The score requirement is 500,000. The max score you can get on any song is 100,000. So that's 5 perfect runs across those 5 songs, or just that score divided across the 10. And if you pull that off, you'll unlock the next chapter, which includes more songs and so on and so forth. And there's also sub-chapters, too, which you can unlock either by doing well in like online versus mode a certain number of times, or by, I think it's like getting I can't remember the exact requirement, but it's something like beating a number of songs on a chapter or something like that. So you'll be unlocking songs as you play. You can sit there and just kind of consistently play new song after new song and just keep unlocking tracks for quite some time. Because this game has over 200 songs, like Joe said earlier.
Yeah, that is an insane number of songs to launch with.
It really is. And now, don't get me wrong, just like with any rhythm game, you may not like all 200 songs. But by that same token, don't let the general sound of some of the songs fool you. Like, you might hear a song that isn't typically in your wheelhouse, but then when you start to play it, it will stick with you. Like, there's this one song in the first chapter, which I think is like a licensed children's song or something. And I first heard, I was like, what the hell is this crap? I don't want to hear this. But of course, I wanted an easy score. So I was like, okay, I'll just set it on easy mode and just run it just to get the score added to my total. And I ended up playing the song 5 times in a row because I really liked playing the actual song. It was a lot of fun. There's also a pretty cool little like guest music chapter called DJ Max, where they actually took, I think it's like 10 or 12 of the songs from DJ Max and put them in this game so you can play them with the Cytus gameplay style. And it's honestly, like I said, it's a very enjoyable product. My only real gripe, it's 2 gripes though, one of them is just kind of part of the game, is one, each song has an easy mode and a hard mode. I kind of wish there was a medium because every once in a while you'll come across that one song where you're like, I can almost beat it, but then easy is too easy. But I guess the trade-off is the fact that you're not really going to so much fail out of a song, you'll just fail it at the end. So whereas in a lot of rhythm games, if you miss a certain number of notes, they'll just kick you out of the song, which makes trying to learn harder settings more difficult because if you can't survive the run, then what the hell is the point? But in this game, they're not really kicking it out or anything. So I guess it's a small issue there in regards to, like, I wish there was a medium, but it's not going to kill it. And the other thing, which is just something a player has to get used to, is the fact that this is a touch game involving hitting a lot of notes at the right timing, and you're doing it with your hands. Your hands are attached to arms, and you're waving them all over the screen. What I'm getting at here is that you might find moments where until you get really used to playing the game, you might find yourself blocking your own view trying to hit certain notes because your arm will just kind of go over. Oh, crap, I didn't notice that the drag would be under that. But I always ran into that issue with Elite Beat Agents in the Oendon games. Yep, exactly. Same thing with that game, too. And also, like that game, eventually I just got used to it. Like I was like, okay, this is how it works. Have my hand kind of playing it in this way, so I always have some idea where I'm going. And also, as you play, you'll start to notice, and you might even just outright remember, like not even trying to, just it happens when you play rhythm games enough. You might just remember a note appears there, and I'm going to hit it, and you subconsciously know it, and you just do it. It just takes time.
Yeah.
So, but definitely nothing that kills the game. In fact, I think this game is excellent. So PM Studios has put out a number of rhythm games on these systems, on Switch particularly, actually. There's like Bose, which I have here. I'm not sure if Demo got a Switch release or not. I have it on the Vita, but Demo is good. And there's also another game that I have on here that I actually wanted at E3 called Musync, which is also really good. And this game falls in line with that pedigree that's been established as being another ridiculously good game by this company. And with the exception of being, hit notes to the beat, this one actually plays differently from all those other ones, in my opinion, which makes it good to own if you even have the other rhythm games in their repertoire. So I'm a big fan of this game, and I am glad it came to the Switch because I don't like playing it on my cell phone. So, and I like the fact that I can just say, here's some money. Give me all the songs. Thank you.
That's good too, coming with so many songs.
Mm-hmm. This is a quality product that will keep you busy for some time.
Well, then as it stands, $50 on Cytus Alpha. What do you say?
I think it's a definite buy. It's a great game and also just a wonderful title to have on the Switch specifically. So get on it, people. Get your tap on.
Will do. I don't know, man. This one's been on my radar for so long, and to know it's finally here and that I don't have $50 for it right now is just gutting me.
Well, you got at least next week's. I know, it's digital now, which means it'll never sell out digitally. But the physical one comes out, I believe, next week. Next week, because this episode will release this week. So next week, you'll be able to buy it physically from Best Buy, I believe. Oh. So that option is available. And I'm not going to lie, I already have it digitally, and I'm still kind of contemplating the physical version. The only thing that might prevent me from doing it is the fact that money ain't growing on trees, baby.
Very true.
So the collector in me is saying, yes. The responsible adult is saying, what the hell are you thinking buying the same game twice, you doofus? And I'm like, oh, crap, not so harsh, man. Calm down.
Oh, man. Anyway, next game to talk about is called Duck Game, developed by Landon Podbielski. Hopefully I say that name right. I'm sure I butchered it, though. Published by Adult Swim Games. It released May 2nd on the Switch for $12.99. The year is 1984. Ducks run wild in a frantic battle for fame and glory. Win over spectators by destroying your feathered friends with an irresponsible number of weapons. One shot and you're roasted. Haha. This is Duck Game, finally on Nintendo Switch with more levels, more guns, and more quacking. Pernell, tell us about Duck Game.
I gotta just lead this out by saying, when I first requested to get, actually, I don't think I think you suggested it to me as do you want to review it? And my first thought when I originally took the game wasn't that I was going to like the game at all. In fact, I thought I was going to hate it.
Really?
Yes. I honestly originally only wanted it because I knew Adult Swim Games did it, and they had really good music in the games that I have played, just Super Puzzle Platformer, which Adult Swim also did. They usually do great music in their games. So here's the deal. This game also has really good music in it. Very Genesis sounding, FM synth style music. So, mission accomplished there. But here's the rub. The game is also quite ducking great.
There had to be one of them.
I had to do it. If I didn't, I'd have regretted it later. But hey.
That made up for us not using any clock-in puns on the Purple Chicken Spaceman interview we did.
You have to go back and edit the videos like duck, clocking great, just like random inserts. But Duck Game it pretty much is, the title says what it is. It is a game involving ducks. But the thing about this game is that these ducks are freaking quackers, and they are trying to kill each other in a variety of randomly generated environments. So the main thing about this game, I'll get into the single player in a bit, but the main rub about this game is the multiplayer. And I was able to play it locally, and I was able to play it via multiplayer online. And I had a ridiculously good time playing it. Though it was also good to know that this game existed prior to this, because there were some dudes that popped into my game session that kicked the living tar out of them, that they've been playing this game for years. And they might have been. I don't know. But here's the thing. it was still freaking fun, despite that. A lot of times you'll play a game where if somebody's mopping you up, it'll ruin the fun. Like, I'm not even enjoying this anymore. But honestly, it was still fun. So what the hell is Pernell croning on about? What is so fun? Well, like I said earlier, it's a deathmatch style game. Every level is generated randomly, so you don't really get to choose. And when you play, the ducks spawn in different areas on this 2D map. There are places where guns are available to be collected and utilized, such as there's like, it can be anything from like a pistol to a railgun. And the railgun is hilarious too. And your goal is to ultimately kill the other ducks. Now, thing that's different about, say, this game and a lot of other deathmatchy style games that I thought was hilarious is that every gun has a different amount of bullets that it holds, which you don't know until you're just used to playing the game. And in addition to that, you have to actually load the gun after you fire a shot. So you have to push a button to use the bullet, but you can't unless a certain guns are on, mind you. Some guns will let you do this, but a lot of the guns will not let you just spray bullets. You have to use the gun, then load another shot into the gun, and then fire again. And when in the case of something like the bazooka, it is especially funny because you have to actually sit there and cram the shell into the bazooka, which if you're doing that in the middle of the battlefield, you're a literal sitting duck. You will die. So you can't just go bonkers with a bazooka. You have to fire a shot, find a hidey ho, reload the shot, and go again. Sounds annoying, but it's not. It's actually, again, it adds to the chaotic fun of the game.
It makes it so that people can't just spray and pray.
Exactly, unless they get a spray and pray gun. There's like a Gatling gun in the game, but the Gatling gun works like how it does in some games where it doesn't just start going. It actually goes like it winds up, and then you start spraying the bullets. It's got kickbacks. You're being pushed while you're spraying the bullets. It's a lot of fun. And you have a quack button, so you can just quack randomly if you feel like it. And also, there's other like random like movement things that show up sometimes. Like I've come across jetpacks, which allows you to just shoot around the map once you pick one up. I've come across a like grappling hook, which allows you to swing across platform. You can grab a platform and swing across while shooting bullets if you feel like it. It's just a stupid amount of fun. There's even some cases where you'll find like present boxes, like gift boxes on the map, and you have to go open the gift box to know what's inside. It could be a gun or whatever. And sometimes there'll be lots of doors on the map, which means you can go find a key on the map to go open the door to get what's inside. Of course, the question becomes, is it even worth trying? Because people were trying to kill you, unless they're all curious about what's inside the locked door and they want to do the same thing, which, hey, you never know. It's happened a lot in our games.
True.
But this thing, I can't express how much fun I had with this stupid, simple game. And another thing I liked about it, too, was that when you play, so a lot of games, they'll just have, like, first to 10 matches win. First to 10 victories wins the game. But in this game, while it still does that, the way it does it is that you'll have, let's say, 5 or 6 matches. Then it'll go into an intermission, and it'll tally up your total wins. If someone has broken the threshold of wins required to end the match, that will end the session. However, what this means, though, is that if you're having like a tight session, like say people are kind of neck and neck for the end, you can have the actual person get over 10 points, but not in the game because they don't win until they have the high score at the time of the next intermission. So you can still catch up. You're not just like waiting for the guy to get 10 and go, I guess that's it. Like, no, I'm still close, man. I'm going to take it. I'm going to get those next 2 wins and beat you, And that was actually a lot of fun, too, because they pulled up a lot of surprise wins. Like, oh, crap, you beat me. Like, I sure did. Nice comeback, kid. But it's a genuine good time. And they also have like dumb, goofy options so where you can like, as you play matches, you get various forms of experience points. And when you level up the character enough, you get like access to toys, either by purchasing them from like a weird vendor named Vincent or from like a gotcha machine. And they don't do anything really game-wise. It's just various masks and hats that you can wear to differentiate your duck from other ducks. And also decorations to decorate your lobby room when you're waiting to start a match. So you can have like a room with like a toilet and palm trees, just weird stuff that you just do to make your game a little different. Exactly. Just like your bathroom. You just make your bathroom in the game.
Well, I guess the only question left is $13 on it. What do you say?
Well, I'm not even. There's more.
There's
But not much
more?
There's more. Not much though, but there's more. If you don't have the capacity to want to necessarily play multiplayer only, there is a single player mode, and the way the single player mode works is that you go into like a hub environment where you're a duck taking on missions against an evil duck corporation, and every time you go up to one of these, weirdly enough, arcade machines to trigger a level, you get 3 missions that you can take on. And they always have various goals. Like one might be get into the building, kill all the ducks, get the briefcase, and get out. And other cases might be just something as simple as kill everybody or collect a certain number of items before the time runs out. And there's like a gold, silver, and platinum rating, or gold, silver, and bronze rating for every stage. And you basically play that. I didn't do a ton with that. I just wanted to do it enough to say this was fun. I like it because I did enjoy the mode. But like I said earlier, for me, the meat and potatoes was that multiplayer. That multiplayer was a gem. So I just wanted to make sure I got that stage so people were like, it's a multiplayer only game. Nah. Like, now single player is fun too.
Nice. So now am I allowed to ask what your verdict is?
I guess so. If you want to.
All right, then $13 on Duck Game. What do you say?
Ducking worth it.
You son of a bitch.
I had to do it one more time.
You did. Oh, man. Yeah, that one looks awesome. I have to fire it up and play it myself. It looks so cool.
It really is, man. I'm telling you, like I said, that FM synth music, whoever the composer was, I'd like to talk to him. Because I was really digging the tunes in that game.
Wonder if it's online.
It might be worth looking. Yeah, if that is, I wouldn't have to look that up. Because they did a good job with that music. It got me thinking about puzzle platforming because I love the music in that so much too. It was a lot of fun.
No, I'm not finding it available to buy online, sadly.
Oh, maybe someone will end up ripping it later and it'll just be on YouTube.
Maybe.
YouTube.
Or it might be on iTunes based on what this is saying. I don't know. It says $9.99 on iTunes for $10 for the soundtrack.
Oh, so it is available. In that case, why? I'm good. I'm gonna look into that.
No, this is a soundtrack for Duck Season, not Duck Game.
Duck
Damn
Season.
it, Google, what the hell?
Rabbit Season.
Although apparently one of the songs in Duck Game soundtrack is called Don't Fuck with Duck. That's pretty great.
You can't beat that without a gun.
That is fantastic. Anyway,
it really is.
We got one final game to talk about, and that is called Reverse Crawl, developed by Nerdook Productions and Stage Clear Studios, published by Digerati, released May 7th on PS4, releasing May 10th on Xbox and Switch for $12.99. You're dead already, but such a trifling inconvenience isn't going to stop you, the Revenant King, from reclaiming your throne. Reverse Crawl is a fast-paced turn-based strategy RPG that lets you lead mobs of monster minions and back from the grave goons into battle against the elite armies of the dastardly Red Queen. Pernell, tell us about Reverse Crawl.
Reverse Crawl, well, first of all, the name was throwing me for a freaking... I still have no idea what the hell they're talking about. Reverse Crawl. I don't know what it means. Like, is it a dungeon crawl in reverse? I don't think so, but I don't know. But the game itself was honestly enjoyable. It's actually a strategy RPG that's not too complicated. In fact, it doesn't even have any real side divergence, so you can kind of keep focused and just play through the game. The way it works is you'll get a story sequence, and at the end of the story sequence, you'll go into a chapter, so there'll be the first chapter. And in that chapter, you select the mission. Sometimes you have access to more than one mission, which I'll get into in a second. But you select a mission, and then at that point, it throws you into a sequence of battles. It can be anywhere from 1 to 5 battles in a row that you have to win. And what happens is you have a variety of units. Think like how Ogre Battle was, how you could create troops hey, I have a mermaid and 2 octopi and a soldier, something like that. In this game, you don't get to choose what the unit builds are, but you do get a bunch of units, builds. You might get a setup 2 raids, or, I don't know, a skeleton, 3 skeleton warriors, and a skeleton archer. And all of these different troop types exist as available options for you to select to say, okay, send this group into battle. And before you choose, though, you get access to what the enemy units are going to be like, at least the ones you're about to fight. And it will tell you like what type of unit they are and their various traits, like if are they melee, are they ranged, are they magic versus just strength entirely, are they healers, so et cetera, et cetera. So when you see that, you are able to compare their stats to the guys you're able to send out in order to make the best decision on what to put them up against. And once you do that, you are thrown onto like a hex grid environment. Enemies on the left and your guys on the right. And you get options at each turn to move your guys in, try to do damage. You can select just basic melee attacks or range attacks, depending on the guy, or magic attack, if that's the case. Or sometimes you can use like special abilities. Every character has a guard ability, which allows them to block and do like have an increased, counter attack for melee and like a small heal, and also like a sort of souped up attack on the next turn, which I honestly never use. I want to get things dead now, not later. In addition to that, there's also like a sort of shared skill pool that you have access to, which is where the currency to use it is based on like killing different enemies. The more enemies you kill, you build this bar up at the bottom of the screen. Each of these skills use a certain number of those currency points. And if you want to use them and you have the points, you can just use them. Like sometimes it might be like magic missile, which will say just hit a guy for a certain amount of damage. Sometimes it's a heal, sometimes it's a buff, so on and so forth. So you have to kind of balance when you need to do those things. If your unit group wins in the battle, you'll kill them and move on to the next set of enemies from the enemy unit. Now, this is one gripe I did have with the game, and it's possible that I might have just missed something because I can be dense like that, and that when I win against one set of units and I move to the next, they didn't show me what the stats were for the next group of guys. They just showed me here they are, and they're coming at you. So I didn't really have the means to plan around how to best attack them. I just kind of was like, okay, just got to kill them. Try to kill them as best I can. However, if you do lose your set of guys, as long as you have an available unit group left to send out for the mission, like sometimes, like I said, you'll be able to send out 3 guys, like anywhere from one set of guys out to 5. Same thing. So as long as you have more unit groups you can send out, the game will let you go back and select another set of units. And at that point, the game will let you see what types of enemies they're facing and what their stats are and so forth. So when you set a unit out, they have their own stats based on the characters themselves, but there's also a randomly selected trait, which is actually kind of cool, where that trait will give you either various buffs or debuffs. So you might have a unit that's like, okay, this unit is always awesome, but then for this particular battle, unfortunately, they have the weak trait, which means they might do like 10% less damage or something. But other times they might also get like a good one. And it seems like it'd be annoying, but it's actually kind of not, because it allows me to not take the game so damn seriously. This isn't a game where you're going to be min-maxing numbers or losses are going to really set you back and make you feel like you wasted a bunch of time, because battles are pretty snappy. And in addition to that, even if you lose, you get experience points.
Oh,
and what
good.
you get with the and it comes in handy because this game doesn't even allow you to really grunt, because you don't get to choose like old levels to do or walk around the world map inciting combat. Every time you beat a level, you'll get a story sequence and another set of levels you can choose from. And as you go to each chapter, you can only choose one of the missions available there. And you'll typically yield different rewards. Like you might get a new unit group that will come with you if you can fulfill a certain mission objective for that level. Like, hey, the evil wizard that you banished is in this desert. If we can beat him, he'll join us. So that'll be like your unique run, where for this run, you have this wizard that you can work with you for future levels. Whereas if you took another route, you might have a different reward that you wouldn't have had otherwise. So every playthrough ends up being different because you can't do every mission every play. Which, again, since this game isn't really pushing or even trying to give you the thought of min-maxing, you don't get that sense of, I need to get everything in one run.
Yeah.
Now, also, when you level up, 2 things happen. You gain access to one of 3 different buffs, and they're always chosen. I'm not sure if they're random or if they're based on the level itself, but you'll get 3 different access things, and it could be anything from like a new group, like communal skill, like I mentioned earlier, or like, for example, like the dark healing skill, which I earned at one point, which could be let me heal like a particular guy for a certain amount of health. Sometimes you'll get new skills options. Sometimes you'll get increased buffs to skills, like that healing spell I mentioned might do more healing damage or potential if you buff it up with this ability. Sometimes you might get the means of which to get new traits or remove bad traits. Like I got one which let me get rid of that weak trait that I mentioned earlier, so it never came up in the rotation again. So as you can bet, I spent that damn level up on that because I hate that weak trait. And then so on and so forth. Sometimes you might get something specifically for a specific unit, which makes that unit better. There's a lot of cool little modifications that pop up in there. And I never really had a moment where I was like, oh man, this is clearly worse than the others. This is clearly better than the others. Every option always seems like a viable one. So it's just a matter of which one do you like more, which I kind of like. So I've actually played games recently where they make it pretty freaking obvious which one is the good one and everything else is just junk. I hate when games do that. But aside from that, the other option for level up games is you'll get upgrade points sometimes after every level. And there are 6 different categories. It could range from, let me think, 'cause there's a lot, like beasts and like soldiers and undead, blah, blah, blah. And each of those had, marksman's another one. And each of those has 6 tiers. And if you have enough points from upgrade points, you can spend them in that category to get a particular buff for that thing. For example, marksman might say, if you upgrade this, now your marksman can move and then attack. Whereas initially they couldn't move and attack in the same turn. So a pretty nice upgrade if you're using a lot of archer characters, right?
Oh, yeah.
So the game isn't working in that manner. So honestly, in the end, I came away having had fun with this game. I like the little chibi little art style. It reminds me of another game too, but I cannot put my finger on it. But I've seen the art style before, so it kind of called back to me where I was like, oh, I like this art style. I enjoy that. The music is nothing to really write home about. I mean, it's serviceable, and that's enough, I guess.
Yeah.
But the gameplay is solid. I had a lot of fun playing it. I like the fact that I can't really get lost in the weeds like I tend to do in games like this. Running around trying to like level up specific characters when I should just be playing the damn game. I like the fact that when you lose a level, they just give you an experience bump, a little bit of experience. Say, okay, do you want to try it again? Or do you want to a different story level? Which means in a way, you can even use it to try all 3 battle options available to you. Go on a level, get killed, try the other one, get killed, and like, okay, of the ones I played, which one do I like the most? I'm going there. So you can even do that if you really want to.
Yeah,
so
there you go.
But honestly, I honestly had a lot of fun with the game. I think it's a fun time. I like what it provides, and I like that for being like a strategy RPG, by having the varying traits that pop up and things like that. I think the game even has a bit of a niche all to itself that other games of this type I don't typically see for games of this type.
Nice.
Is it? Is it though?
I think so, but it comes up, it all comes down to your opinion. So $13 on Reverse Crawl. What do you say?
I think this is another buy. This is a good episode for my reviews because they were all buys this time.
Nice.
Buy.
That is very that is very good news to hear.
I concur. I mean, because don't get me wrong, I don't mind having a moment where I'm like, okay, this game is not good, and here's why. Da, da, da. But it's even better. I'm like, all these games are great, and here's why. So I'm not complaining.
And they're all on Switch, so
switch it up.
Have fun, Switch people.
Yeah, you guys are getting bombarded with good releases lately. The Switch is just a dynamo platform lately, and I love it. Just wish the damn store was better.
Yeah, no shit. Chris Taylor, who's going to be on later on in the show, he finally caved and bought a 400 gig SD micro card.
Same here. And it's because he might have did the same reason I did. There was a really weird sale on I don't want to call it weird because sales are common nowadays, but there was a sale specifically on micro SD cards on Amazon like a week or two ago. And it brought the price of a 400 gig card down to like, well, reasonable number.
Damn.
So, and at the same time, I was like, okay, what's the next level up from that? It was like a 500 and something, and there was a terabyte. But the price for both those is still like, I'm not paying
ridiculous, that. Yeah.
So I was like, 400 it is. I'm done with that. So But this system is worth it for that. I mean, yeah, I'm sort of as that guy just saying, you just uninstall some games. And I'm like, screw you, buddy. Got time to uninstall.
If it was just as easy as uninstalling games, I wouldn't have 3 external hard drives hooked up to my Xbox One.
Exactly. There's something a little bit annoying about, okay, I want to play this game now. Oh, this is one of the ones I don't have installed. I can either reinstall it or just play a different game, which means this uninstalled game will never get used again. Yeah. So, honestly, I like having all my games available. I don't want to do that hot swapping garbage. So, yes, 400 gig, and if the 500, or rather, I might just skip the 500 and go right to the terabyte. But if the terabyte ever comes down to some decent, affordable amount, and I'm still drinking in the cusp of Switch titles, I'll probably grab that too. Nice.
Well, Pernell, it is always good having you on the show chatting about these games. Do you have any final words before we move on?
Play more Switch because it's a damn good machine. And if you have any particular indie favorites on the Switch, let us know because we could always get more Switch games to play. Such a good machine.
All right, next game to talk about is called GIGA WRECKER Alt, developed by Game Freak, published by Thunderful and Rising Star Games, released April 30th on PS4. May 2nd on the Switch, May 3rd on Xbox One for $24.99. See, it's the different dates that threw me off.
They made it real easy with those dates. Freaking 3. What is this, like last generation?
Hey,
2 generations ago? Yeah, last generation. I remember that. Just like, man, here's the it's like when Mega Man 9 came out, it released across the span of a month.
I know, it's like just pick a day.
Just get it all out there. Come on now. I had to wait like a month because it was like last on 360 and I didn't have a PS3 and I didn't want the Wii version, or was that the other way around? I don't know. Whatever.
I don't remember. Anyway, become more than human and save mankind from total annihilation. From legendary developer Game Freak comes an action-adventure like no other. Manipulate the world around you and smash the evil Ajit to smithereens. Tim, tell us about GIGA WRECKER Alt. By the way, Tim Ekkebus is here if you didn't recognize.
I'm here, guys. Hi. I had strep throat last week, but I'm here now. What is this shit?
You feeling better?
Yeah. Once you're actually on the antibiotics, you start feeling better very fast.
Nice.
But last Tuesday and Wednesday were fucking terrible. And then the last Thursday, Friday, I was still definitely feeling the effects. And then probably, I don't know, some point over the course of the weekend, I started feeling like a human again. But oh my God. It was real bad last week. And anyway, so yeah, let's talk about GIGA WRECKER.
How is it?
Man, I wish I liked this game more.
No.
Is the first thing that I wrote. Yeah, so GIGA WRECKER is what I guess ostensibly comes out to be sort of not really Metroidvania-ish. It doesn't really have the whole you need to find an item to go to this place sort of thing going on. But also it's corridors and hallways that all kind of interconnect. It's just the way things play out more is I go over here. You have to find key nodes or something like that. And it's once you found 3 of them, this door will open. Once you found 4 of them, this door will open over here. So it still kind of has that same feel of progression.
Yeah.
Even if you're not getting, I guess when you're moving around, it definitely feels like that because of just how the game is structured. So yeah, you are the GIGA WRECKER. That is not what your character's called. No, but you're some girl who almost died and some scientist finds you and makes you into a cyborg. So you got a metal arm, which you use to, you break stuff, and then the stuff that you break, its bits scatter around an area, and then you can suck them or magnetize them all together into a ball or something like that. Once you have your ball of junk, you can then make it into a cube, or you can use it as a sword to slash out and cut things, or you use if you have a big boulder of junk, you use it to bash enemies. There's different environmental effects, there's this goop that will stick onto it and then make it bouncy, give it a bouncy property. So yeah, and you use that stuff to kind of what is neat about this game is as you're playing through it, it's a lot more puzzle focused, physicsy puzzly focused than most games in this vein, which tend to be more action oriented.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So it's more like you'll go into a room and it's like, okay, how do I get from this side to the other side? You get like this little robot helper dude, and sometimes sometimes there is a console in a room, and if you hit it, then your little robot guy will kind of help you, give you like a hint, which can sometimes take the form of him showing you like what you need to interact with, or showing you what the room needs to look like in the end. And sometimes those are helpful, and sometimes I'm like, what? I'm like, what? This is what? I just like look at the information he's giving me, and I'm just like, I don't like, how do I get from point A to point B? What are you trying to tell me here?
Can I buy a vowel?
Yeah, I'm like, this is not helping me. And that's not good when it's not always apparent necessarily like what you have to do in a room in order to get past it, or, you know, make the stuff happen. Kind of like, so anyways, yeah, so there's this cool idea. You break stuff, you pick up the junk, you use it as like weapons and tools. It's got like more of a puzzly platformer flow than other like games of this genre. So it definitely has like a cool thing going on. My problem personally is I didn't like the way it played at all. It's just like, I felt like the jumping felt bad and the combat felt bad. And some of like the puzzle physics seemed just like inconsistent, or didn't seem to have like a good consistent logic to them. So I was constantly just kind of like a little bit miserable while playing the game. And disclosure, I was not playing it while I was in the most fierce throes of strep throat. So it wasn't like the sickness wearing off on my opinion of the game. just to be clear. Cause I didn't have the concentration to really play much of anything. I remember like my kid wanted me to play like Yoshi. I've been playing Yoshi's Crafted World, which is dope. And I was just like falling asleep on the couch. I was like, buddy, I can't do this. You're gonna have to watch something. I'm done. Just anyways, but so it's like you have these characters, and like the sprites look, you know, good enough when they're like static and standing still, not doing anything. But like once they start moving around, like it just feels like either like your animations should be like faster. Like there's not enough frames of animation for how slowly things happen. Like when you're attacking specifically, it's like it feels like there should be more of a deliberate animation there to show that it's like, okay, like I can't just sit here and like whack out with my weapon.
Oh, or, hey there.
Hey, whoa, out. Excuse me. Yeah, like whacking that thing out, your rubble balls. Whoa, this is just getting worse. Oh my God, what is happening?
Not doing a good job of fixing it.
I'm still on drugs. I guess antibiotics. I don't think they have any kind of effect on you, like in this, whatever.
Yeah, I know what you mean when you're talking about the animation, though. Like the first time I saw the game, I thought it looked really good, but in motion, it kind of feels South Parky, where it just feels like something like on top of something else.
There's enough frames, or like the animations should come out quicker to compensate for the fact that it's like there's like 4 frames of animation to your attack, but it feels like those come out across like 4 seconds, you know? Yeah. Like that's a slight exaggeration, but that's what it feels like. And then just in terms of jumping around, like it's very floaty. It's just what it felt like. It just didn't feel like a good jump. And it's hard to talk about, you know, what exactly about a jump feels wrong when it is wrong, but it felt like floaty. And then some, like I would have just like a hard time, like after maybe the apex of your jump, it felt like junk. Whoa, your jump, you became like too heavy and would start to fall too fast. So I'd have a tough time like platforming sometimes and just jumping around, and it's tough. And it seems like you only have like one. I don't know. It just didn't feel good for all the jumping around that you have to do. But then it's like you have the thing with the puzzle physics, and it's like sometimes they just didn't like feel right to me. I remember there's this one where it's like, okay, you have to like there's basically like a beam that's on like held up by like 1 or 2 wires or something like that. And what you have to do is you have to get the beam swinging so that you can then swing up onto a platform, basically. And the way you need to do that is like, I guess you get the ball, your junk ball, sticky. Oh my God. And then you
sticky
throw
balls.
You throw it down, and it would like, I think the idea is that it would bounce off of the platform and then thus give the platform momentum from you throwing it down into it. And then it would start swinging. And then I think it's supposed to just kind of like physics you up onto that platform. because that's how I eventually got up there. But it's just like once it started swinging, I was like, okay, it's swinging, but I'm not jumping quite high enough. It doesn't feel like I'm getting enough momentum off the end of it. Like, do I have to like then grab my junk? Oh my God. And make it into a box? I mean, it's piles of junk. And then make it into a box and then jump on the box. And then like once it gets up there, then I'll have a little bit of extra height. And then this isn't working, but it feels like it should. And I'm just not really sure. So I'm like, okay, I went back to getting my junk sticky and then not sticky, bouncy. Oh man. This is a AO rated review right here. Holy crap, this game. Yeah, I'd throw my bouncy ball off the beam and then it just shot me right up. And I'm just like, okay, all right. There was another time where it was like, I was looking at the answer to the puzzle. And it's like, okay, well, I clearly need to cut down this cross beam so it falls across this platform and then I can climb up on it and go over. And just like for the fucking life of me, I could not get the goddamn thing to fall like over to the right. Like, I'm like, okay, do I have to bash this part first, that part first? Do I need to like hit it from the other side so the momentum makes it fall this way? And it ended up being just that I had to use my cut motion. For some reason that made it fall to that one side perfectly. And I was just like, okay, fucking whatever, game. Like, whatever. So it was just like really frustrating. Like, there's a lot of cool design concepts in it. That just like, and sometimes, you know, like all that stuff comes together right, like quite well. I should say sometimes you go into a room and it's like, okay, I'm gonna, you know, you will like cut the line on like a buzzsaw arm that's hanging down there and that arm will swing down and like destroy enemies. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. That feels good. You know, pull down a section or you'll knock down a section of the ceiling down on some enemies, you know. When you bash like some big robot with like a big boulder, I'm like, yeah, this feels like good. This is cool. Like there's cool stuff going on in this game. I just found myself more often than not just like a little frustrated with the way that everything felt and kind of reacted. No. But you know, it looks nice. The animations leave a little bit to desired. It doesn't seem like there's a skill tree. Which man, this thing was annoying because you get like skill points and then it's like, you have to fill in like multiple nodes to get like, you have to fill in 4 nodes to get the health upgrade, which it took me a second for. I'm like, okay, well, wait, how do I want to go through this tree? Like, okay, I need to collect 4 of these vitality nodes to do this. So like, okay, so instead of just like balancing the economy of the skill points such that 1 point equals 1 health upgrade, I have to pour in like 4 across this. And then there's other things in there too, but it left like a bit to be desired with just how like the first like 12 things available were all just health upgrades, which ultimately got me 3 total health upgrades. You know, it was just like, why do I have all these points to fill in all these nodes when I'm actually not getting that much stuff? But it does expand as you go on and gain more abilities. It just felt like they just felt like a little half baked. Like in the end, I was just kind of like, okay, like, I don't know. It felt like you just kind of like a lot of the game feels like, you know, they were like 80% of the way done and they just needed to like really polish and shine it up to the end, you know, like a little bit, like tighten up the physics, tighten up like the feel of the movement, like refine the skill tree a little bit, and then go on from there. There didn't seem to be like a lot of cool stuff to find. You start finding alternate skins for your weapons, which was fucking disappointing because it didn't look cool and I had to go through an awful puzzle to get them sometimes. I was like, man, I went through this dead end. Like, I want a cool thing. I either want like a new item or I want another node so I can go somewhere else. And it's like, here's this weapon skin. Like, it doesn't do anything different. It just looks different. I'm like, that doesn't do anything for me right now, game. GIGA WRECKER, I need a little more than that. The one thing I will say that is unapologetically is the music in this game is bad. It is not good music. It really grated on me. It felt like the loops were really short and just not good. Like, noticeably bad. Like, noticeably did not like listening to it. But overall, I think it's okay. It just bummed me out that it didn't play a little better, but I liked I liked the general idea of what it's doing. Like, usually Game Freak kind of has like some cool mechanic ideas in their game, which the whole junkin', you know, breaking things, picking up the pieces, using those pieces to do other things, like that fills that role. And it's neat. It just doesn't come together as flawlessly as I would like. Yeah.
Well, as it stands, $25 on GIGA WRECKER Alt. What do you say?
I am going to give it a try it. I don't think it's so abysmal as to give it a deny it, even though like it has merit. My main criticism is just like on the, I guess in general, like in the world of games right now, there are so many fucking great indie Metroidvanias that you should play before like GIGA WRECKER is the next on your list. But if you've played all those, then I think
and dive in.
Then this might be something worth checking out. Yeah.
Awesome. Sounds good.
All right,
Tim, always good having you on the show. Do you have any final words?
Oh, don't get strep throat. Don't get it, man. And if you got it, and if your kid has it, let everyone that child has come in contact with know that he's got it. It is the worst.
Next game to talk about is called Kid Baby Starchild, developed and published by Exit Earth Entertainment, released April 24th on Steam Early Access for $19.99. Kid Baby Starchild is a tight controlling 3D platformer with a focus on twitch-based combat and decisive platforming. As Kid Baby's sworn protector, it's up to you to deliver the universe from certain destruction. Checking this one out, Royal Sefton, how are you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. It's good to have you back. I know you took some time off. You worked on music, allegedly.
Yeah, allegedly. We'll just leave it at that. It was a vacation of sorts. We'll just go with that.
But you're back and you're better than ever, and you have Kid Baby Starchild to talk about.
Yeah, that's right. It's one of the most humorously confusing titles. Kid Baby Starchild. Like three different words for a child or a baby or a kid.
And then
I'm
Star.
not sure which character they're talking about. Yeah, and then Star, of course. So it's a special child. Yeah, no, this is interesting. So I feel like the game is kind of a Super Zelda 64, and I'll explain. It's segmented into worlds and levels, kind of 1-1, 1-2, 1-3, and you're a sword wielding dude who is apparently in the service of this Kid Baby Starchild. I'm kind of confused. I'm a little shaky on what exactly is happening in this game. There is sort of an intro story, but as you play it, not a whole lot gets explained until you come across these statues where you can communicate seemingly telepathically with the Kid Baby Starchild. But it's very much like a 3D Nintendo 64 era platformer. You have the sword. When you hit enemies, it actually makes the exact sound that come out of the old Legend of Zelda for the Nintendo. And I don't know if that's an early access thing, if it's an homage thing. Couldn't quite tell. But you square off against these various nature-style enemies, and really the bigger challenge for me was jumping from one thing to the next successfully. It's actually kind of a challenging game already, and for me, the hardest part is actually like surviving the tougher platforms, especially when they start pouring lava on you and shit.
Oh,
Yeah. 3D platformers, and I'm better at 2D platformers. Take a dimension away, it's a little easier to control. Maybe everybody's that way, but it's not really the fault of the game that it's difficult. Like it's not difficult for a frustrating reason. I feel like the play control is very responsive. I have an Xbox One pad and I'm playing over Bluetooth, and it feels pretty natural. You can't play it without a controller, I'm told. It says you have to have a controller, so you can't do a keyboard and mouse. It's a PC title, so buyer beware on that. But yeah, it otherwise worked fine with an Xbox One pad, and it is admittedly a really well polished, well tuned game for early access, especially even without the early access in the title. About the only thing I still feels kind of in development. It has more to do with like explanation of what's going on, and there are a couple areas where it sounds like some music might be missing. Instead, it's more silence than I would think would be appropriate. So maybe some more background music would help it.
yeah.
But graphically it feels very smooth. It really has a good whimsical quality to it. The main character kind of looks like a really hairy Fred Flintstone or something. I can't quite place it. I had a hard time looking at him and thinking, yeah, that's my badass hero. It's more like, yeah, that's my cartoon character with a sword. I can dig it, whatever. But yeah, it just ekes that sort of Mario Zelda vibe, even to the point where you like hit a block and it spits out stuff, and you collect diamonds, mostly these purple gems. But I've also seen sushi and these one-eyed talismans and different cards, and the lack of explanation as to what these different items give you or do for you is probably the game's biggest fault for me right now. I don't quite know what I'm doing. I know the point A to point B aspect of it is good, and I can tell there is definitely at least an effort here to try to engage a speedrunning culture, because it times you, it has all these different pickups you can go back and collect if you're a completionist. You can tell that they're really trying to engage that sort of completionist gamer, perfectionist gamer. All the materials are there for that. I just don't know what the cards are for. I don't know what these talismans are for. I feel like the world is interesting, but it doesn't make sense to me yet. So I almost feel like maybe there needs to be more explanation or more discussion as you play. Like, some critter will tell you what this is for, what that's for. Press this to do this. Kind of had to figure it out on the fly, and that's fine. For an early access game, especially, like I said, the polish is there. So this is still a really quality game.
Nice. So the $20 price tag on it, I was trying to look up if they're planning on going up in price as it releases, but I'm not seeing anything on the Steam page about whether or not the price will go up. They did say that they're looking to stay in early access anywhere from 6 to 8 months as they polish up the rest of the game. So we could see progress over the next couple of months and improvements. What would you suggest? What kind of information or what kind of direction would you like to see the game go in for the price?
Well, obviously it needs more levels. I mean, I haven't played through all of them yet, but it says there's only 6 mission levels, so I assume there's going to be a lot more content coming our way. It does say that it's currently being offered at a discount, but they don't specify how much. So the price will go up as you go into it. I think that really, my direction I'd like to see this go in is more story, more explanation, because it sounds like they have a lore to this game. And when you first start, you do get kind of an explanation as to what's going on, only in a very, very vague way. I mean, it tells you like about 6 lines of story. You see a bunch of images, and then you're just like, okay, I don't care, let's go. In game, though, nothing is really explained to you. So I think that's really where I'd like to see the game go a little further. Obviously, besides taking what they have, which is plainly a pretty solid platformer template, and then building more world on top of it, to have a little more explanation in game, I think would really be, I think, a good thing to do. If there's one other thing that I would suggest, there's no camera control whatsoever. To their credit, it never felt like when I was playing the game I really needed to be able to pan around a lot, but it would have been cool for exploration reasons. There are a couple cases where I dove off the edge of something trying to see if there's something beneath, and I had no way of investigating without, wasting a life to do it. So yay! Yeah, if they just focus on, I think, expanding the world and making it better understood in game, I think that they could have a winner on their hands.
Awesome. So for $20 right now, what's your verdict?
It's definitely like a really strong try it. I would even say buy it, but for your $20, you're only going to get 6 mission levels right now. So you kind of got to weigh, is that enough to keep you entertained with the promise of more down the road? Yeah. For me, it's like if I was looking at just 6 levels of this game for $20, I would probably balk at that. But knowing there will be more game to come, and I'm just not sure how much, does tell me that $20 is a pretty good deal. Awesome.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Royal, always good having you back on the show. Do you have any final words before we move on?
Kid baby. It's kind of redundant. Does anybody I've heard people order like a tuna fish sandwich, but does anybody ever order like fried chicken bird?
I'm going to do that next time.
Like the chicken bird sandwich.
And finally tonight, we've got our good friend Chris Taylor joining. Chris, how's it going?
Hey, going all right.
How was your weekend?
Hang on, I'm sure I did something. Oh. I actually I beat an NES game for the first time in a while, ever since my stream went down. But I beat Princess Sally in Tomato Kingdom. In
Ooh.
Salad Kingdom, sorry. Princess Tomato in Salad Kingdom.
Nice.
Yeah, it was actually really good. That game is like really adult humor.
Really? Like
For
what?
Hudson. Just like, I don't know. It's just got all kinds of things in it. I didn't have a list of examples.
Oh, you should have wrote them down.
Yeah. But I just mean like it's not kiddish at all. Like it's very much it's a point and click sort of investigative game. And you know, apart from the fact that most everyone are vegetables or fruits in the game, it's like it's very much like I don't know. It's well, fortunately, I don't have to review it because I just realized that I'm trying to review an NES game from 30 years ago.
Oh man, that makes my back sore.
Oh yeah, my phone again, second week in a row. We'll edit this out, right?
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, this will never be heard on the show at all.
Okay. Well, we're good then.
I'm lying.
Yeah. Hey, maybe this doesn't matter to people who aren't in Texas or the South in general, but they came out with this new flavor of Dr. Pepper.
Really?
Yeah, it's wild berry or berry flavored Dr. Pepper that they're promoting a film or something with it.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I tried it and it's actually pretty good. It tastes like a liquid blue Tootsie Roll Pop. Like
I am interested.
Yeah. So if you all have Dr. Pepper out where you are, just go to the stores, try to find the dark blue box. I like it.
We'll have to look for. Do you know if it's a regional thing or if it's nationwide?
See, that's the thing I don't know, because there are places that don't have Dr. Pepper at all, and those places make me very sad. So I try not to think about them too often.
Yeah, we have Dr. Pepper around here. I don't know if we have this berry one, but now I am interested.
Yeah,
we have a lot of soda talk on this show anymore.
I mean, they keep coming out with good ones, so
they do. My wife picked up Burger King tonight, and they have Surge in their Coke Freestyle machines. So yeah, I'm drinking Surge.
Yeah, they did that. I don't know if that was something that lapsed, but it seems like they did that again some years ago. And then, like, there's other restaurants that sometimes have Mellow Yellow, which is...
yeah, we have a bunch that have Mellow Yellow. Pretty much anywhere that has a Coke Freestyle machine should have Mellow Yellow.
Okay, we don't often have those in Texas. I don't know what it is. Yeah, they're trying to create
learn
divisions.
things.
They're creating divisions in this country along the soda lines.
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you find a Coke Freestyle machine that has Mellow Yellow in it, try Peach Mellow Yellow. Peach Mellow Yellow is amazing.
Yeah, that sounds good. I think the only peach soda I've had is Big Peach, which is a big red sort of knockoff, not knockoff, but like a cousin to it. Same company, just different soda.
I know Target and Walmart, I've seen a Georgia Peach Coca-Cola in glass bottles. They sell a 4-pack.
I have never seen that before. I'm going to be on the lookout for that.
Georgia Peach and California Raspberry, I think.
I thought you were going to say California Raisin for a second. And I was like, wait, but that's Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper tastes like raisins pretty much.
Oh, my Lord. We should probably talk about games, shouldn't we?
Do we have to? I'm kind of enjoying this. No, go ahead.
What other soda talk do you want to talk about then?
No, I just bottomed out. It's actually extremely appropriate that we start talking about video games now.
All right. Well, you got 2 games to talk about tonight. Let's start things off with Shalnor Legends, developed and published by Johnny Ostad, released April 26th on the Switch for $9.99. A young girl has traveled to the Sacred Lands. Within this realm, she will face many challenges, fight dangerous monsters, and solve mysterious puzzles. Many have come to this land before, all in hopes of finishing the sacred trial, but none has succeeded. Will she fail like the others, or will she overcome the odds and return home? Chris, tell us about it.
All right. Well, Shalnor Legends. So first off, I have to say that there's a link between the 2 games I'm talking about today. Both were developed by one-person development teams. apparently. And from what I can tell, Johnny Ostad, or I'm guessing Ostad or Ostad.
Yeah, I went with Ostad.
Yeah, I like it. Apparently, yeah, he is the sole creator of this game and its upcoming sequel, apparently, according to the website.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so this is a really interesting sort of top-down not live action, but action RPG. Very much fashioned after the old school Zelda, particularly like A Link to the Past, but like most modern takes on the formula, this one has a few differences. So basically, yeah, it actually does have some storyline to it, which is great. Because some of these games do tend to just kind of drop you in and tell you nothing until you actually, yeah. And then you beat the game and you're like, oh, this is what all of this was for. And you're like, oh, okay, there's the story.
Yay.
But this one actually does set you up pretty well from the beginning. But yeah, you are a girl that is exploring a kind of, it's called the Trial, and it's, I guess, some kind of dungeon dimension where people get kind of sucked in and they have to undergo the trial. I guess there's some goal in mind that I forgot about already. But in the trial, if you die, then you die for real. And so some people gave up on it and actually just kind of roam around and act as NPCs. So of course, some of them set up shops, some of them set up inns, and there's also like ghosts of people like roaming around. Like you get your first sword from a ghost who was like, well, I worked hard to get this sword and then immediately died, so maybe you'll have better luck with it. They're pretty cheery about it. And really, you get your sword, which is your short range attack, and then you get a variety of arrows that you fire from a magic bow, and thus the ammunition for the arrows is your magic meter, which as it drains, it just slowly builds back up. So you have a limited but unlimited kind of ammunition thing. But these arrows tend to be your puzzle solvers. So you get fire arrows pretty early on, and so you shoot fire arrows into like unlit torches to light them, and then that opens doors and things like that. So it's very much like it's an adventure game in that sort of thing, where you go to a dungeon, get the new item, and then use the new item on the boss, of course, and then move on to the next dungeon and pick up the item there. And
tried and true formula.
Tried and true. This game is very much so. But one thing that it does kind of bring into the bring new to the formula is an alchemy aspect, which being one who kind of spent many hours learning the ins and outs in a game I'm just going to call Skyrim, of mixing together ingredients to create items. I was thrilled to see this system, although it is a little more simple. Like there's limited slots for ingredients in your inventory screen, which your inventory screen isn't like if you get too many items you have to dump them or anything. Like actually there are silhouettes of every item that goes into the inventory screen. So you see like an outline of like a radish or something, then that is the item that goes there. And then it's just however many you can collect. But yeah, you use alchemy for everything. You make your potions with it that you can either do health, magic, or endurance restoring magic. You actually start with a dash move that just takes up some endurance, which also slowly builds back up. And you definitely are going to use that to get past a lot of traps. So it's essential to learn. And the thing is about it, though, is that in the beginning of the game, you can only hold 2 potions, which is very Zelda-like, but actually you can improve you can improve basically any item that's in the game, it seems like, through the use of crafting, of course, and collecting enough gold and enough materials. And it's interesting too, because like although you can purchase the first defense upgrade using just money, the actually next 2 require more money than you're actually able to hold. And so you have to actually come across a larger bag for, holding more money in order to do all this stuff. So like basically everything is kind of limited in a way, and you have to either search out or somehow earn or purchase or craft better items.
Yeah.
And like I said, you can eventually get a bag that holds like 8 potions and things like that. So, which is great because you're going to need that, because while the game is actually fairly light on having enemies, like depending on the screen. So sometimes like one of the first areas you travel through is a desert, and there's just tons and tons of giant deadly wasps that come at you relentlessly. And they come out of nests like, just infinitely. They just infinitely respawn. And then you get to a dungeon, and you get through almost the entire dungeon without seeing a single enemy. And because the dungeons are actually set up to be more for puzzles, so it's more like dodging spikes, dashing over, timed spike traps, going between perpetual fireball shooting things, figuring out door puzzles, moving around blocks to put into, their colored holes, kind of matching them up. And actually one puzzle, I kind of waggled my finger at it a little bit, because it was one of those puzzles where you're supposed to move these blocks around a maze and get them to their respective colored holes. And you have to do this while the wall is shooting fireballs at you in the first dungeon.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so this game is not afraid to throw down on the difficulty and the damage, so I kind of respect it for that. But yeah, so it's going to feel a lot like Zelda, especially when you start it up at first. It has that very indie feel to it, however. But yeah, once you get, sort of digging into it, then you can see a whole lot of new stuff. And, I quite like when games take this formula that's, like I said, like we said, tried and true, and incorporate like new elements and, try to get them to, bring a little something more to it, to the experience. Yep.
Well, $10 on Shalnor Legends. What do you think of it?
Yeah, it's easily worth $10. I think that's, I'm not sure how long the game is. It seems like it's about a 6 to 10 hour adventure, just based on the first couple of dungeons I got through, which is perfect for a Zelda game. And I think that's worth it already. I think that a lot of work and care went into this game. I believe it had I think it had like a 2 or 3 year development cycle from one person. Which is always impressive when it's just one person doing stuff. Yeah, that's hugely impressive. And like I said, he's working on a sequel too, and it's looking even better. So I say, yeah, this is a definite buy it. Everybody kind of get in on the ground floor on this one. Awesome. Sounds good. And it is available on Xbox One as well. I'm not sure if it's on PlayStation or not. I didn't really follow it. The website just says he's working on console ports. So I think the latest update is now on Switch, and it doesn't say anything about PS4. So yeah, well, maybe that'll be in the future. I know it's available on Xbox as well if you're looking to pick it up there. But cool. For $10, it sounds like it's worth jumping into. Yeah, I mean, so far I've played 4, maybe 5 Zelda-like indie games on Switch so far, and I've loved every one of them. So one other reviewer called it the Zelda that's on Xbox because he reviewed the Xbox version. And now I'm like, ooh, that's not great to say now that it's on Switch, which is, where you already have so many other Zeldas available. Yeah. But it holds its own. So good. So yeah, I think it's good. Awesome. Well, we got one final game to talk about tonight. That is called Bird Game Plus, developed by Brian Tabor, published by Rattlelake Games, released April 30th on PS4, May 1st on Xbox One, May 3rd on the Switch for $4.99. Heading south for the winter in a land that creates itself. In Bird Game Plus, a very special adventure awaits you. Chris, tell us about Bird Game Plus. So I kind of thought that was like just, like coded talk for procedurally generated or randomly generated backgrounds, but in fact the world does build itself. Like plants actually go into the ground and grow as a mechanic while you're flying by. So so good job on making the literal seem metaphorical. Okay, so Bird Game Plus, which I appreciate blunt titles sometimes, and in fact, that's a pretty good one. It is the over-the-shoulder flight adventure of a nameless bird who flies perpetually forward, and you basically have a couple different modes. So you have the I don't remember what they call it. I guess I'm just going to call it story mode, because you go through levels that actually are that are set up, that are actually built, and you fight 3 bosses, and then that's pretty much the end of the game. And then there's an endless mode, which basically you just try to get as far as you can, and things are, I don't know if they're random, but they are mixed up. So you'll end up, every time you play it, it'll be a slightly different experience. And then the key is just to get as many points as you can. So basically,
how high did you get?
I didn't. I think I got like 20 or 30.
Damn.
But because I largely just tried to beat the first boss, because here's the thing about this game is that they tell you very little at the beginning on how to do things. And since it has a tutorial, I kind of trusted it to give me all the information from the tutorial, which what they told you how to do is, for at least from what I'm recalling, is how to use the Y button, or sorry, the square button. I'm thinking Switch controls already. I may or may not purchase this on Switch, so that's, I'm already thinking about those buttons. The square button is what you use to actually sort of bank as you're flying, so to go to the extreme left or right, and they start you off with actually a pretty precise either cleared or die kind of obstacle as soon as they introduce that. But what I don't remember if they ever told me that there was a barrel roll button, but there is a barrel roll button, and you need it like constantly. And it's just the R1 and L1s, which I just figured out by button mashing, essentially trying to figure out stuff. I was like, oh, I can barrel roll.
Yay.
Because they're like, oh, you can push R2 or L2 to trigger motion control with the controller, and I was like, no, thank you. I'm fine without that.
That's cool that they have that in the PlayStation version, though. I'm assuming they have it in the Switch version as well.
They've got to. I mean, it is a motion control thing, so
yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely in the PS4 version. Actually, I do like a lot of the options in this. So the presentation of the game, while it is 3D and it is fully it basically thinks Star Fox 64. But it's a bird and it's plants, and you can't shoot anything. That's kind of what's going on here. That's the style of, like I said, I call it over the shoulder flying.
Yeah.
But what I like about this one, so it looks like a hand drawn type of thing. It looks like the Take On Me music video, with the pencil sketch thing. So nothing has any real detail in it. It's fairly minimal, and it's all black and white. But the cool thing is, because looking at something that's like 99% white on a high def TV is kind of painful. It actually has a dark mode where it inverts the black and white.
That's
so you can
good.
actually, you can play the game in kind of a more calming sort of gray where, everything's white outlines. So I like that. And they also have, they have this thing where you can basically turn on or off the detail in the water. The detail in the water, by the way, is just randomly generated lines that look like waves. So I don't know why you could toggle those on and off, but I kept them on. I was like, why not? Think my machine can handle it. So yeah, then you, like I said, in both modes, in both available modes, you basically fly through obstacles. Like I said, banking, barrel rolling, not avoiding motion controls. Oh, actually, I did want to say one more option, and this is a shout out. The X and Y can be inverted in the options, and by default, the Y axis is inverted. So shout outs to there. That's correct.
Yes.
They got it right. But the option's there if you want to play it wrong. and uninvert the Y. So anyways, like I said, so you basically avoid plants that just kind of grow in your way and, sort of come out of nowhere. The obstacles are very well planned. They're actually very clever. Sometimes they're a little much. Sometimes I think there actually is unavoidable damage in the game. You actually have a life bar that it took me 3 playthroughs to actually notice because it's a dark line that goes across the bottom of the screen, and it goes down. Every time you get hit, it's actually fairly generous on the amount of times you can get hit, which I like. And there's, again, generous amount of checkpoints. So, and I think you have infinite lives. I couldn't get it to give me a game over. So, I think you either have infinite lives or just a whole bunch of them. But yeah, you always start at the checkpoint. And so, you have ample opportunity to sort of either get good or just memorize your way through the game. But what you're definitely going to want to do, besides, like I said, it's just dodging plants, dodging some, dragonflies that come at you, all kinds of obstacles like that, just survive as long as you can. But then you get to the boss fights, and those are real interesting. And may I say challenging. So like, since you can't actually shoot anything, the way that you actually win is to, sort of either put obstacles in the boss's way or, kind of, if they're coming at you, you kind of guide them into obstacles. That's how you win the first boss fight. As I understand, later in the game, there's an element where you can pick up something that comes out of the water and use it to kind of fight. And in fact, I actually saw there's a thing where there's fish that come out of the water sometimes, and if you get them, you can grab some extra health. But I failed to do that myself. But I believe you do that with the cross button. So, because I actually had to look up instructions on how to beat the first boss because I was like, I'm not getting this. I can't attack them, and they just keep coming after me. And it's like, oh, just guide them into something where they hit themselves. Okay. So yeah, it's actually, I think it's really well put together. It's definitely an interesting concept. And like I said, I do appreciate when, people go after the minimal style, but actually still make it interesting. I'd actually rather minimal graphics than something that just looks like, Nintendo 64 on a bad day.
Yeah.
But, those have their charm too.
Well, then as it stands, $5 on Bird Game Plus, what do you think?
I say, yeah. It's not a long game, but it is challenging and it's really interesting. And I think that $5 is not, that it's $5 is a why not in that sense. But I actually do think there's quality here, and I want to see more from this guy. Assuming this is one guy. That's what I'm, everything I saw on the internet is suggesting to me that this is a one-person development team.
Yeah.
Or just one-person developer. But yeah, like I actually really enjoyed this one, and I cared enough about it to actually seek out solutions to getting through the first boss without just being like, okay, then I'm done here. And yeah, I like the look of it, and I like the quality of life options. I always appreciate those. And yeah, $5 that's easy.
Awesome. Sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, that is it for this episode. It's been another successful reviews episode. A lot of people came by on this one. A lot of games to talk about. It was fun, though.
Yeah.
It was good stuff. Some good games to talk about.
Absolutely. I agree with you because I've heard this episode, and God, do you remember that thing that happened earlier in the episode with
Man, it was
you and that other
crazy.
person? Yeah, it was just nuts.
Crazy. I can't believe it. I still can't believe it happened.
I know. God,
Man.
can't wait for someone to maybe hear it.
Well, music for this episode, I think you should introduce the music because you shared it on Facebook the other day from Eric WK. Do you want to introduce the music?
Yeah, this is Eric WK, known as the drummer for Kirby's Dream Band and also the fantastic Vic Viper. He has apparently, over a course of a couple of years, put together a stunning 21-track tribute album to Earthbound. And Mother. It's got some Mother in there too.
Which we love our Earthbound on SML.
Do what?
We love our Earthbound on SML.
Yeah. It's literally my favorite video game. and the music from it is fantastic. He does a great job bringing it in. He's got martial art on there. He's got a whole lot of guest musicians. I believe Ailshon's on it too, right?
Ooh.
I think he contributed a guitar solo or something. And yeah, I've listened to this album about 4 times now. It's on Bandcamp for pay what you want, and I believe he's still got the vinyl pressings that are on a link on the Bandcamp. They'll say sold out on the Bandcamp, but if you click it, it'll take you to a separate store. So don't be fooled like I was.
I was already fooled.
I was like, hot damn, it's already sold out of the vinyls. It's only been 5 minutes. But yeah, it's called Motherfucking Earthbound.
Motherfucking Earthbound.
Yeah, let's hear it.